So hello, welcome back to another episode of Scenes 4. Today I'm out in the B class because recently I've had a couple of comments asking me how I'm getting on with the B class, if it's still holding up, comments like that. So I want to do a bit of an update video. Conveniently, this car I've had for nearly, well, just over 4 years now, and I've done around 40,000 miles in it. I've done about 1,500 in the last sort of month or two, so it's still quite a heavily used car, this one. It's the car that does the majority of my miles. If we consider I've had the SL for about 2 and a bit years now, I've probably done about 1,000 miles in the SL. In that time, I probably did about 25,000 miles in this car, 20 to 25,000. So, just to put it in comparison, the cars that I use the most, this car is still going strong. It's still absolutely fine. Touch wood. This year, I had a couple of issues. I had a wheel and an ABS sensor both play up at the same time. So it was off the road for about a week trying to get those sorted. Thank my local garage managed to get it sorted. It originally had a wheel sensor replaced, and then it was still intermittently playing up, so they replaced an ABS sensor in the end as well, and that sorted the issue, and then it's popping since then. I have to have a little bit of suspension work this year to get through the MOT, which here in the UK we have to MOT cars every year. It's just a roadworthy check that every car has to do once a year, so the B class is no exception to that. I need a little bit of suspension work to get through that. I've also had the brake pads message pop up saying brake pads a bit low. That was conveniently just before I dropped off an MOT a couple of days before, so I asked the garage to have a look at that. Now, so there's still a little bit of meat left on the pads, so they've said leave for a few months, probably a good few months wear. I mean, as far as I'm aware, the brake pads have never been changed, and we're on 65,000 miles now. So I'm hoping there'll be a little bit of mileage left in them. So I'm probably going to get this car through to December, and I'll book it in and get the brake pads changed, and also the wear sensor apparently have changed as well. Apparently, like I've said. And apart from that, I mean, suspension, it's stuff that goes. Brake pads is stuff that goes. It's a consumable item. I get this car serviced every year. It's nothing I should mention actually. Again, that's something you should always do with cars. You'll get them serviced pretty much every year. This car has gone very sad, and I know this is 30,500 mile service interval. If 30,500 miles you service this car with this engine. Now, I don't know if you have different engine, different gearbox. I don't know if that's something different, might have different thing, but yeah, generally once a year I generally service this car because this car is out and about quite a bit. Because I do rely on this car, I try and look after it not so much as more, because I do look after my other cars, and we'll come to the cleanliness of cars in a little bit and how I use this car. So the issues that I've had with this car are things I always say about this sort of generation of Mercedes. Engine and gearboxes, as long as you look after them, as long as you service them, don't abuse this, they will last the life of this car. They will easily do hopefully 150,000 miles, and hopefully going to take this car up to that, to be honest. About 65 at the moment. There's still plenty of miles left in this car, but it's always the sensors. It's always the sensors, always some electrical issues that you have. The three issues that I've had with this car, other than things like tyres and consumables that need replacing, have all been sensors. So I had a throttle control sensor. I can't remember exactly what it was, but anyway, that went and it started kicking engine lights and all that. I've had the wheel sensor and ABS sensor this year. I also had the sensor at the top of the throttle pedal, which is built into the throttle pedal. That also had an issue, but it wasn't replaced. It actually, the garage just blew out the connector. It was a connector that seemed to be having the problem. So rather than getting a whole new throttle pedal and sensor, they blew out the connector with an airline, and I haven't had any problem with that since. Obviously, dirt or something must have got in there anyway. But yes, it always seems to be sensors and electrical issues. And if you're going to buy one of these cars, I would just say, just make sure you take it out for test drive. Make sure it doesn't seem to have any issues, no walnuts on the dash and all that. So the B class is the car I'm at in the most. It's the car I spent all my winter in, and it will be, as a result of that, absolutely filthy. This isn't a show car. This isn't a car that I keep on top of the cleaning of. If it gets a bit muddy one day, oh well, eventually I'll get around to cleaning it at some point. This car has been utterly and completely brown before now. Particularly living here in the countryside during the winter, when you get the farmers bringing stuff out of the field, they drive around the tracks, they bring mud and all the lights out from the field and you drive over it and your car just turns brown. That's okay with this car. I don't mind that. That's what it's here for. I spend so little time cleaning this car in comparison to the other two, despite the fact I use this car a lot more. But I don't worry about this car being dirty. That's what it's meant to be. It's today. I cleaned it the other day, and it's already. I went to see my parents the other day, driving at the motorway, it's about 100-mile round trip, and again it's got muddy. It's got a bit dirty. Took it out this morning. It was quite wet, and that's what it's here for. This car. It's not here to be a show queen. It's not here. It doesn't get to go in the barn at night. It's left outside. It did have a couple of nights in the barn. We went out. We took the figure out and the SLK out for a car show. We stayed over with my parents, and this car spent a couple of nights away in the barn. But he wasn't that used to it after that. That's it. It's been kicked out. As soon as I got back, right out you come. They've got 2 cars to go in here. So after 4 years and 40,000 miles, am I so enjoying the B class? Do I think it's a great daily? Well, yes, I do. It's been a fantastic car. It's given me very little trouble, really. It's sort of proved my stereotype about this generation of cars, that it's a sensor that will cause issues, and yes, that's happened. None of the sensors cost me that much to really sort out. I think it was about £200-300 for the wheel sensors, and ABS sensor this year. I think it's 140 quid to get the throttle sensor in the engine bay sorted, or was it the boost sensor, something like that? I can't quite remember off the top of my head. So never that expensive. It's just an annoying cost, isn't it? Really, something that shouldn't really go wrong. Other than service and MOT costs as well, and some consumables here and there. This car doesn't really cost me that much to actually run and to own. So I'm really pleased with this car. I'm really happy. I also haven't questioned this actually, but I also quite enjoy driving this car. It still feels a nice car to drive. It's no S Class, it's no SL. But there are a lot worse driving cars out there. It still feels a nice car to drive. Which is my sort of worry when I went to test drive this car, that it wasn't going to feel like a Mercedes. It still feels like a Mercedes. It's still got a Mercedes badge on there and on the front and the back as well. So I really enjoy owning the B Class. So much so that eventually, I'm hoping there's quite a few more years left in this car. Eventually, I would consider having another one. I actually like it that much. I probably would go for the newer shape one, which came out 2019, 2020, something like that sort of era, was it? And that sort of generation onwards, it's still being made today. So I will probably go for one of those. I won't go too much into it, but I'd probably go for another diesel. I'm not a big fan of diesels, but in this instance, I quite like the diesel because it is the cheapest to run of this generation. I also, in the new generation of B car, I don't like the 1.3. I've driven quite a few cars with I just don't like it. Taking on the motorway, it's a bit of a jack of all trades that can do a bit of town driving, but can also go onto the motorway and feel nice and relaxed and chilled out. And I don't really think that 1.3 quite fulfills that chilled out brief on the motorway. This car isn't the most powerful, but it does get down the road quite nicely. And it doesn't feel like it's ever struggling. It's always got enough power. I don't think it's got excesses of power, it doesn't feel anywhere near as quick as the SLK, but it doesn't feel slow either. It's that sort of middle ground for me. It feels okay, gets me by. And so yeah, I'd probably have to go for the 2-litre diesel if I went for a newer B class as well. But anyway, that's years off, and I probably would have changed my mind several times. I recently said I was also looking at E classes in the next car. And now I'm talking about B classes, and then I was talking about GLCs. I like a GLE, but I think they're a bit too big. So anyway, it's a nice problem to have, because it's not actually a problem, and it probably won't be for quite a few years. As I say, I'm hoping to keep this car. It's given me 4 years good, reliable service, so I can't really complain. So that is how things are going with the B class. So thank you very much for watching. It's quite a weird video today. I don't really feature the B class that much on the channel. Sometimes it'll just be an update, or it'll be in the background of one of the videos. So it's always nice to do a little bit of a video. So I've had a few comments recently, people asking how I'm getting on with these cars on some of my older B class videos. So yes, hopefully you've enjoyed that. Any questions below about this car or any of my other cars, please do pop them in the comments below, and I will try. I can't promise, but I'll try my very best to try and answer those for you. So it's goodbye from the B class, and we'll see you again very soon.